Hello. I think that should cure that. Thank you for the comments that I'm not able to hear. Off to a fantastic start. Hopefully the F1 fantasy season gets off to a smoother start than that. Yeah, hopefully you can hear me now. There we go. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, thanks for joining everyone who's already in here. Yeah, I've completely forgotten what I've just said because I just talked to myself apparently for the last like minute or two before I realised that it was just me talking and no one could hear me. But yeah, the mic is fixed now. We've now got 13 minutes to go before the game launches. Let's hope, like I said, the game launches smoothly and it doesn't take me like half an hour to actually get into my account or whatever. Like I should already be signed in, so hopefully we can just go straight in. The game's going to just magically appear. We can look at the teams, we can look at the price reveals, we can look at the rules, we can look at some team selection ideas from the straight off the get go. So yeah, let's have a quick look, see who's in the chat. Who we got? We've got Michael. Hi Michael, how you doing? Keith, how you doing? I'm going to butcher this name. Gilliam Visser, welcome. What a legend you are. Oh, Rob from Fancy Hub. Nice. Been watching your videos. Very very good. Nice to see you join the YouTube fun. Sorry, I feel like I should probably move the mic over because my chat box is like over to my right, and every time I look at the chat, I'm kind of away from the mic. So if I move that over a little bit, maybe that's a bit better. What we got then? Just watch your video from last week. Cool. Yeah, I got a few videos out already, like just sort of preemptively because I didn't know when it was going to launch. And as we can see that the game is launched very late. We're going to have like, what is it, 5 days? We got effectively today, so going into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the deadline. It looks like it's going to be on Saturday. So yeah, we have 5 days. The game's not even launched yet. 5 days. So it's a bit of a mad rush. But yeah, we're gonna, like I say, when the game launches in 12 minutes, we will look at the rules, like I say, we'll look at the team selection, and we'll have our first thoughts on what the best teams are. So what are you guys thinking already? Because I've got a few ideas, obviously based on testing. I'm sure most of you have been watching testing, or at least keeping up to date with what's going on in testing, and lots of feedback from the teams, journalists, that sort of thing. The thing that stands out to me is the most obvious things to stand out. Let's just go for the obvious stuff. That Red Bull just look supreme. They are just a juggernaut that keeps on going, and I think depending on the price, we've seen a couple of price reveals already. I think Max is 26.9, if I'm correct. Yeah, so 26.9 seems kind of okay, I guess. You should be able to get him in your team and put the DRS boost on him. I would imagine most people will be doing that. Obviously, Fernando Alonso, if he really is at 8.3 million, like, he's just going to be in everyone's team, isn't he? He's just going to be everyone's. It's just a no-brainer. Aston Martin looked really good. What do you guys think? Do you think that Aston Martin are going to be ahead of Mercedes? Maybe we can. Let's do a little poll. Let's see what people think. Aston Martin. I can't actually type. Aston Martin. I literally cannot type. Right, let's go for it. Let's see what you guys think. Do you think Aston Martin are going to be like third in the pecking order, or are we all getting a bit overexcited and exaggerating how strong Aston Martin actually are? I don't know. What are we thinking? It's kind of tight. I think Mercedes will still be there. I think Mercedes had a bit of a mixed testing, and they had some ups and downs. Although maybe not so much ups and downs because the bouncing stopped now. So they look like in a lot better position than they were 12 months ago for sure. Like 12 months ago, they were down in the dumps, depressed, and it just got worse as the season went on pretty much. So they seem like they're definitely in a better position. We know the Mercedes are reliable. They've had a couple of little hiccups over testing, but that's what testing's all about, to iron those hiccups out. So I think Mercedes will once again be very reliable. As for fantasy assets though, because the DRS boost is now for any driver, and most people are probably just going to have Max Verstappen because of that. Having Max Verstappen in your team really limits what other drivers you can have, and I'm just not sure Mercedes are going to quite fit in anywhere, at least not for the first race or two. I think I want to give them a chance to kind of see what goes on. For me, my initial team, obviously the game is still 9 minutes away from launching, so we don't know exactly what's going on with the prices and the structure, and we don't have a clue how much the constructors are going to cost. So that's going to be really pivotal on the team structure, because the constructors are very important slots, and we now have two of them to choose from. My initial thoughts, depending on pricing, is like Red Bull and Aston Martin, and Max Verstappen and Alonso. I don't know how. It depends on the prices though, and then just fit in some budgets around that. I think that could be quite good. But yeah, it depends quite a lot on how the constructors fit in. So it looks like the majority of people voting so far do not think Aston Martin will leapfrog Mercedes. And yeah, I'm kind of in that camp as well. I do think Aston Martin definitely looks strong, but testing can be deceiving sometimes, and I don't know. But for sure, like Fernando Alonso definitely seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me. If he does come in at 8.3 million, let's just see. It's gonna have a quick look at the chat, see what you guys are saying. Yeah, 8.3 million. That's what I'm saying. If Alonso is 8.3 million, that's Lucathon. I fully agree. I think 8.3 million. He should be in 100% of teams. He's going to beat his teammate because Lance Stroll has got like broken arms. Even if he comes back, he probably won't be super fit. And can you imagine like trying to drive an F1 car after you broke your arm 2 weeks ago, potentially both wrists 2 weeks ago? Like those things are handfuls. Like you need to be strong to handle the car. And if you're recovering from broken arms, if the rumours are true about Lance Stroll, I just don't see him coming back for a couple of weeks, to be honest. That means that Felipe Drugovich will be in the car. And Alonso, again, depending on the rules here, depending on the rules if there's still teammate points. And Alonso is just like, he's going to get the teammate points. Like, unless something dramatic happens. As we all know, I had a bit of a run-in with Fernando Alonso last year in my fantasy team. He kept trolling me, and it's not just me, it's all of us, really. Everyone who kept going and trusted Fernando Alonso kept getting hurt. But it wasn't Fernando's fault. He didn't mean to hurt us. It was just unlucky, those DNFs, those unreliability of the Alpine. But I think the Aston Martin, last year, the Aston Martin was fairly bulletproof with its reliability of that Mercedes engine underneath it. And now it's got these fancy new upgrades and looking not just reliable, but also really fast. And we know Fernando Alonso is elite when it comes to anything to do with driving, but he's super, super good at qualifying. So if he can just stick that Aston Martin really high up the grid, and they have good race pace and good tyre degradation, then I think the Aston Martins could be extreme value depending on what they come out as. So yeah, 8.3 million just seems kind of stupid. I kind of wish he'd be a bit more, just so he's not in every single person's team, because then it just kind of reduces the variation amongst teams. And I think having a good variation is a good thing for the game. We've got 7 minutes. 7 minutes, guys. Come on. This game's going to launch in 7 minutes. Speaking of variation, actually, that's another thing which I'm a bit down about, is the fact that they've removed streaks. Because I think the streaks, for qualifying and for getting race streaks, I think they were a really good way of getting variation in the teams. It forces you to make those substitutions because you want to try and get people on streaks. And now we just don't have that incentive. We've got the 6 boosters, which we'll have a look at in a minute when the game launches. But I just don't think the boosters really generate or encourage us as fantasy managers to change our teams that much. So it's not going to be a case of set and forget, because there's going to be lots of upgrades constantly coming through the season. People will go in and out of form. Different tracks will suit different people and different cars. There definitely will be substitutions used up and variation amongst our teams. But I think at least initially, like for the get-go in Bahrain, I think a lot of our teams are going to look kind of the same. And I think going forward, it will be a bit less variation because of the lack of streaks, which is a bit of a nuisance. But we'll see what the rules are in 6 minutes now, in case maybe there's a few extra little things or incentives to help change our teams around. So let's see what else we've got in the chat here. Maybe for a couple of races, Aston looks the best of the rest. Yeah, I agree with that. What are your thoughts on 2 constructors from Dilip? Is that your name? 2 constructors. I like it. Again, I've just been talking about the variation. Having 2 constructors does add to that variation. It's going to be interesting to see how it affects the pricing structure, because obviously everything's been squished down. We expected Verstappen to be like 35 million or something at the beginning of the season, but he's now going to be just under 27 million because of the price compression, as they described it in the article last week. So yeah, I kind of like the 2 constructors, and as to who I want in the constructors, obviously we'll find out in 5 minutes if the prices of the constructors and who we can get in there. My initial thoughts are Red Bull, but it depends, because I feel like they should be really expensive, but then Max Verstappen should be really expensive, and Alonso should be really expensive, and they're not that expensive. So we'll see how dear the constructors are. But yeah, I'd quite like to get Red Bull and Aston Martin in as my constructor if I can afford it. And like I say, I'd like Red Bull, Aston Martin, Alonso, Verstappen, and then just fill in with like the likes of De Vries, maybe Sargent if I'm really struggling to fit into the budget. So I don't know, that completely depends, because I don't know what the pricing is going to be like exactly. It's the same budget as this year. We get 100 million, so everyone's price is going to be like a bit lower than last year. But yeah, we get 100 million, so 100 million to spread around, 7 slots, 5 drivers, 2 constructors. It's good. I think the 2 constructors is definitely good for the game. Again, adds more variation. Some people will go for like 2 budget constructors and then just try and pack out with the drivers. I personally prefer getting the beefy constructors, because I think that's where the bulk of points are in general. But again, we're going to see all the new rules in just a minute, 4 minutes time. So we'll see the new rules and we'll see how that might affect whether we want the constructors, whether we want to pack out the drivers. We'll have to read it through with a fine tooth comb, and we'll get some drafts set up as well. So yeah, we've got 4 minutes to go. Let's see what else is on here. First time playing. Oh yeah, well welcome to the game, Gilliam. It's all looks like all new rules, so it's a good time to start playing because we're all kind of in the same boat. Last season and the season before, when playing were in charge of it, it's going to be changed quite a bit from based on those rules. So yeah, welcome to the madhouse. Do you feel Ferrari will do well this season? Yeah, I do. I think they've had pretty decent testing. They've had some troubles with tyre degradation, but I think that's being overplayed by the media because as Ferrari have come out and said themselves, they tried lots of different setups, and yeah, some of the tyre deg was not great on those setups, but that's what the whole point of testing. I think when it comes to qualifying and the Bahrain race this coming weekend, I think that Ferrari is going to be right up there competing with the Red Bulls. I do think the Red Bulls at the moment definitely still have the edge, but the Ferraris definitely look good. They looks like they've improved their straight line speed quite a lot, and there's like 3 or maybe arguably 4 kind of really long straights in Bahrain, so that could really benefit them. So that'd be really interesting to see. We've got 2 minutes. Oh my god, what's going to happen? Is it? I don't know what's actually going to happen. Is this going to refresh by itself? Do I need to refresh? Do I need to log in? What's going to happen? Maybe it'll just like you're in the game. That's what I'm kind of hoping, because yeah, we'll find out in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. What else we got in the chat? The alphas as in AlphaTauri, because the way you spelt that is AlphaTauri as opposed to Alfa Romeo. Yogesh. Yeah, which team do you mean? Do you mean AlphaTauri or do you mean Alfa Romeo? Because Alfa Romeo look good, to be honest. Both Guan Yu Zhou and Bottas both look impressive. They did have the trouble with the Ferrari power unit and a couple of days ago. I think Bottas stopped on track for a bit and kind of, a bit worrying. Because, Ferrari reliability last season wasn't the best. We all know that. So yeah, having a Ferrari engine in the Alfa Romeo is slightly concerning, but I do think they should come in at a fairly decent price. 1 minute, oh my god. So yeah, I think Alfa Romeo will be reasonable. And I think Bottas, maybe Zhou, depending on the prices, could be definitely on the radar. And then who else have we got? AlphaTauri. Yeah, AlphaTauri haven't been particularly exciting, to be honest. They look kind of okay. I like the look of De Vries. I think he'll do well, but it might take him a few races to settle in. I think he's priced at 5 million from the reveal from the F1 Twitter. So 5 million. If I need a budget like that is that cheap, then I think De Vries definitely could be it. But yeah, we've probably got just a few seconds left until this game apparently launches. This is very exciting. Are we ready? I don't actually have like a countdown, but I think there's probably about 20-30 seconds left. So are we ready for this? Best budget driver this time, except Alonso. What you mean, De Vries? Maybe. I'm not sure. Is that an open question? I don't know. Until we see the actual prices, I don't know exactly who the best budget driver is. But we'll see. Yeah, Albon. Yeah, I'm curious to see Albon's price as well. I think Albon could be really good because the Williams have definitely improved. Oh my god, it's 0 minutes. What's happening? Do I refresh? Is the game launched? Refresh? Anyone got it? Is anyone in the game? I don't know. Let's 2 seconds. I've got the old spreadsheet up just in case. Alright, I'm gonna refresh this. It's not launching. Is anyone else in the game? I'm just trying to refresh it. Does it make me want to sign in? Oh, I think we're in. Let me just. Is this in? I don't know what's going on. Let's get us back on here. Here we go. Is this in? Are we in? The official F1 fancy game. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. It's all a bit blank. How to play. Oh, I need to log in. It wants me to log in. Fantastic. Right. I'll just take this off screen for 2 seconds. I'm just going to log in. What is it? I am logged in. Why is it not actually doing anything? I told you there'd be hiccups. Pick your team. Okay, well, let's just scroll down and see what it is. So, right, okay. Let's just read through. Let's see what's going on. Free to play, fantastic. Create up to 3 teams, so that's the same as last year. Yep. Five drivers, 2 constructors. Give your team a name, blah, blah, blah. DRS boost, yeah, we know about that. Pick 1 driver, it's going to be Max Verstappen probably. Chips, each chip, yeah, we know about that. Transfers, leagues, yeah, we know about that. Yeah, so how do we actually... Game rules? Here we go. Let's have a look at some game rules. I don't know where the actual team selection is going to be, but maybe someone in the chat can help me out whilst I have a look through this. Here we go. Why is there such a delay? My stream, I just realised there's like a massive 20-30 second delay on the stream by the looks of it. That's a bit annoying. Right, so constructors. Add a second constructor to your lineup this season. We know about that. Chips, overtakes. Win points for every overtake that your driver makes. Oh. So there's no limit to that now? That's interesting if there's no limit. Because before there was, up to 5 places and you can gain up to 10 points. That's very interesting. That kind of helps the guys at the back a lot more. It makes the budget picks a bit more interesting. 2 free transfers, we know that. Pit stops, box. There's nothing like the spectacle of a perfect pit stop. And now the fastest teams will score points for your fantasy team if they top the timing charts. Interesting, because we know another sort of bonus to having Red Bull as your constructor then in that case, isn't it? Red Bull are super fast at their pit stops in general. So that's just like an easy few points. So let's just check go to the main page, hit gaming and go through again. Okay, I will do that in just a second. I'm just reading through the rules. So scoring will be a point. Yep. So drivers qualifying. So that's the same as last year. Oh, disqualify, you get 15 points lost if you get disqualified from that. Interesting. Drivers. Constructors will score the combined total of their 2 drivers in qualifying, as listed above. Yeah. Constructors will also score points for achieving one of the following. If neither of them reach Q2, they lose a point. So that's not great for the budget guys. If one driver reaches Q2, you get 1 point. If both drivers reach both, oh wow, yeah, look at that, 10 points for both drivers to Q3. That's another huge bonus, and it encourages us to get the likes of Red Bull or Ferrari in our constructor slots, because that's a huge. If you sat there with a Williams and you get -1, and your rival in the league, in your mini league, has got 10 points from Red Bull, then you're kind of laughing. But sprint race. Let's just sprint race. So drivers position gained. Yep, it's the same. Overtakes made. So overtake. So if you overtake and then you get overtaken again, but then you overtake again, does that mean you get more? You get like 2 points for that? I don't know. This needs to be a bit better explained. Sprint result, kind of the same there. DNF -20. Oh, so the DNFs are painful this year. Last year it was -10, and now it's painful. Drivers, race positions gained. Yep, overtakes. So it looks like you get points for overtakes and positions gained. Very interesting here. Fastest lap gets you 10 points. Wow, that's double what it was last year. Driver of the day as well. Oh, okay, everyone needs to get voting for people in my team. When we vote for driver of the day, vote for people in your fantasy team, clearly, because you're going to get 10 points for it. Then you get a bunch of points for that. DNF is -20. Yeah, it's hard hitting. Fastest pit stop is 10 points. Oh my god. Second fastest 5. Wow, this is really interesting. -4 per additional transfer. Creating a team after the team lock deadline, you lose 10 points and you could just change your whole team. That seems kind of insane. Okay, so if I refresh this, is this gonna actually get me? How do we get into pick your team? Here we go. Oh boy, here we go. Let's have a look at then all the prices. We've got all the prices. Let's go through them. I'll get back up to date with the chat in a minute. Max Verstappen, as expected, he's already 59% owned. What the hell? You guys are so quick. 26.9 million. Yep. We know that. George Russell. Perez at 18 million. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Perez at 18 million. Sainz, Norris. Quite a gap there between Sainz and the best of the rest there. Norris, Ocon. Yeah, Alonso confirmed at 8.3 million. 79%. I expect that percentage to continue to rise. However, that if he does do badly in Bahrain for whatever reason, then his price is going to go, because he's going to be so highly owned, and everyone's going to be like, oh no, Fernando Alonso had a DNF, and everyone's going to sell him, and we're going to lose loads of team value because of the way the new pricing is working. But yeah, Gasly 8.1, Bottas 7.8, interesting. Stroll 7.5. Yeah, Albon 5.5? Get in the team. Get him in the team. Nick De Vries, Guan Yu Zhou at 4.9. Yeah, well, there's lots of really cheap options, so that could help us bulk out what's going on. Let's go have a quick look at the chat, and then we'll get some teams put together, I guess. Let's see what's going on. De Vries more expensive than Yuki. Yeah, as a rookie. I mean, Yuki had a horrible season last season, so I'm not surprised Yuki. Well, how much does he cost? Oh, he is. Let's make this a bit bigger. Yuki is 4.8. Yeah. Logan Sargent at 4 million. Okay, yeah, I like this. Let's shove a team in here straight away. Let's get all the guys that I said whilst we were waiting for the stream. We'll add the constructor, Red Bull. Oh, okay, the constructors. Here we go. Okay, so Red Bull are almost identical price to just Verstappen. Well, can we get him in there as well? Aston Martin at 6 million. Aston Martin at 6.7 million. What have they done to this game? Everyone get Aston Martin in there now. Get him in. How much money have I got? I've got 25 million left, and I've got a team like this already. Well, this game's broken. I've broken the game. Right. Back to drivers, I guess. I've got 25 million. That can't be right. I've already got 25 million left. This is insane. Okay. Who can I get with 25 million? Can I squeeze in Perez as well, and then 7.4 million? I could get Piastri. Not interested in McLaren that much. Nick De Vries possibly. Who else is down here that might be worth a punt? How much have I got? 7.4. I mean, I don't really want Piastri, but he does fit in there. Magnussen could be, could be a good option. Like, has looked okay. I'll place him around the maybe 7th or 8th position. So to have him as your budget, I mean, team done. Don't need to do any more videos. Team's done. Got Verstappen, got Perez, got Red Bull, got Alonso, got Aston Martin, got the best budget driver, got K-Mag. Team's done. I don't know. What do you guys think? What we got in the chat? You can't double up on premium constructors. Once you choose Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, the other two are blocked off. Well, that didn't appear in the rules. Let me have a look at this. I mean, so if I go back to constructors, yeah, they're grey. Wait, why is everyone greyed out? Oh wait, is it just because they're greyed out because I can't afford them? Is that why? If I, for example, get rid of Max for a minute, yeah, no, I can get them in. Yeah, look, I can get Mercedes and Red Bull if I want. What are you talking about, Rob? What are you talking about? Right, Charlie, who you got? Verstappen, Sainz, Alonso, Stroll, Albon, Red Bull, Aston Martin. Yeah, these teams look legit. Like, oh, this is exciting. I think there will be some good variation, Like, if I get rid of Perez a minute, let's get Verstappen in here. Oh, I've got literally no money left. I can't quite get it's annoying that I keep scrolling down. 3 million. I can't quite do that, but if we got rid of Mercedes, how much are Ferrari? They're cheaper. Ferrari are cheaper and clearly better. Oh my goodness, the pricing is a bit off in my opinion, but yeah, sure. I've got Albon in there. Wait, why is Sargent there? We've got 10 million to play with here if I do this. 10 million. The cheapest is 4, so I can't really do much other than like that. And that's a team as well. Just go crazy for the constructors. You get Verstappen on the DRS boost. Alonso because he's Fernando Alonso and he's a boss. Albon, great budget, and then Alfa Romeo looks strong, Guan Yu Zhou looks good, Nick De Vries might hit the ground running, AlphaTauri not particularly exciting, but who else are you going to pick down there? Hulkenberg potentially, if you think Haas is better than AlphaTauri, but do we trust Hulkenberg? Not sure. Okay, so now Rob's saying that wait, what's going on? Wait, what? Okay, you're just stupid. Cool. Okay. You're really confusing me. But yeah, this is exciting to dabble around. So, wow. I'm surprised that the constructors are quite so cheap. Like, Ferrari are 22.1 and Charles Leclerc just by himself is 21.2. The constructors are really cheap. They're really cheap. And you get those points for the pit stops. You get points for getting your drivers into Q3. I looked at the rules, you get 10 points just for getting into Q3? So double up on these constructors when they're so cheap relative to the drivers. It just seems crazy to me. Like, initially I was thinking, like, we go Aston Martin, and I might still consider Aston Martin a bargain price of 6.7 million. Like, super bargain price, given how they've done in testing. And that does free up some funds to maybe look at, that gives me like 20 million. Again, probably getting the likes, just go all in on Red Bull, or you could maybe go to Carlos Sainz if you trust him a little bit, and that lets you bump up maybe Guan Yu Zhou to someone like Gasly or Bottas. I think out of Alpine and Alfa Romeo, I think Alpine are going to be better than what people are giving them credit for. and they've also got an upgrade coming to Bahrain. So I think Gasly could actually be quite a reasonable shout at 8.1 million. But this team I've got here actually allows me to get, Bottas or Gasly if I wanted. I can afford Gasly, so I could if I wanted go Pierre Gasly, depending on what happens in the practice sessions. But yeah, a team like this looks really good. What are we thinking straight away then? What are we thinking? I think looking at let's go back to the game rules again. Let's have another look at the constructors, because from what after reading through quickly, I think the constructors seem to have like really big bonuses. So let's have a proper read through, and then we can determine: do we want to weigh our teams more to the constructors, or do we want to go heavy constructor and budget constructor? Because if we want to go heavy constructor and budget constructor, then Red Bull, Aston Martin look like great choices. But Ferrari coming in at like just 22 million, that just seems so cheap. So I'm kind of tempted also to do like just go all in on Red Bull, Ferrari, and then have some cheaper drivers. And I can still afford Max of this. Like, I feel like a lot of our teams for Bahrain are all going to look pretty similar. Is my first thoughts. Let's have a quick look in the chat as well. Hang on a second. I've just stole your team lineup. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the teams are going to be kind of similar at the moment. Teams better than driver. Yeah. So let's have a look at that. So drivers get their points as we expected. The DNFs are heavy, so there is a chip that allows you to negate the minus points. We need to have a look at the chips actually in a minute to see if that's retrospective, because surely you would only apply that after a race when your team have got like minus 20 points for like 3 different drivers because there's been a big crash. Like, think of Silverstone last year. There's that big pile up basically in turn 1. That's the sort of race where you'd use the chip to activate that and stop yourself from getting hit by those points, because that's quite a lot of negative point scoring in here. But anyway, let's get back to business and look at the drivers versus constructors. So constructors will score a combined total of their 2 drivers in qualifying. So the drivers get those points and the constructors get their points. So straight away the constructors are clearly better than the drivers. Constructors will also score points for achieving this. Okay, is there any... Oh, this is qualifying. Okay, so you get say Max Verstappen gets 10 points for getting pole, then the constructor at Red Bull will also get 10 points, and the constructor will get another 10 points as long as Perez also gets in the top 10 alongside Max. So straight away I'm thinking the constructors are going to be crucial, and we're going to have to pack out with the beefy constructors. Let's carry on reading though in case that changes. Sprint race, positions gained, 1 point per position, and you lose a point per position. Yep. Overtakes made. Why is this still got a little asterisk? Is that down the bottom? Is there? Okay, this will explain it. Overtakes are considered valid when one driver legally passes another on track, and the driver passed was not entering or in the pit lane, or suffering a car failure, or going unreasonably slow. Just a bit vague. So I guess that means cars can overtake, be overtaken, overtake again, be overtaken, overtake. So if you've got that back and forth, are you just going to rack up loads of points? Like, that seems kind of a bit dodgy to me, but yeah, okay. Where were we? We're on sprint races. Where are we? Qualifying. There we go. Sprint race. So yeah, again, the sprint races are going to be the most obvious time to use the extra DRS boost, which was last season's Mega Driver, because you get extra points. DNF not classified. What's going on in the chat? With 2 constructors, you can now diversify your team more. Yeah, but as I'm reading through the rules, everything seems quite leaning quite towards the constructors being really powerful. And if anyone can correct me in the chat, if anyone's read something which suggests otherwise, but it looks like the constructors are really, like, the points are quite heavily leaning towards the constructors from what I can see. Again, constructors will score the combined total of their drivers in the sprint. So as long as you get a couple of reliable constructors, I think that's the way to go. Positions gained in the race. Yeah, positions per overtake. New. Yeah, thanks for putting the flag there. Fastest lap is 10 points. So again, Max Verstappen is like, it seems like a no-brainer to have Max Verstappen and put the DRS boost on him, because he's probably going to get driver of the day quite a lot. He's going to get fastest lap a lot. He won't get these points for positions gained because he's going to be on the top, like, front row anyway, most races. But it looks like, yeah, Max Verstappen with 2 premium constructors look like the way to go. Constructors will score. Yeah, so again, they're going to double up. So if Perez and Verstappen are like first and second, then you'll get all those points. Constructors will also score points for the following pit stops. Yep, so everything is pointing towards constructors being like really premium here. Let's go back up and go back to the home and go back to picking the team. Right then, yeah, let's go back to the chat quickly. I guess it's because there's 5 drivers, so maybe they're trying to balance by making the teams worth more. Yeah, but I don't know, it just seems like the constructors are just super overpowered. One beefy, one mid-table constructor to help balance. Yeah, I do like balanced team. In terms of fantasy, my fantasy approach, I like a nice balanced team. However, having just read through those rules, it seems very weighted towards the constructors. At this price, 27.2 million, it is absolutely, like, no question Red Bull are going to be in my team. I think they're going to be like, they're only 45% picked at the moment, but I think they're going to be like, they should be 100%. That's what I'm going to say on it. They should be 100%. And then the next lot, again, you're going to get those beefy points from the Ferraris as long as they can maintain their reliability. I quite like just going straight. I know it's a bit boring, just picking the two like most expensive constructors or whatever. I know Mercedes are randomly more expensive than Ferrari. Like, why did they release the game after testing? Like, they waited until after testing so they could evaluate who looks good, who looks bad. Why have they made Mercedes like 3 million more than Ferrari when Ferrari were clearly better than them in testing? It just doesn't make any sense to me. There's a mini rant over. Oh dear. What do you think, Mercedes or Ferrari? Yeah, I've just been touching on that. Like, Ferrari clearly, like, if I'm going to go premium, this is what I'm going to start with, and that leaves me with still half my budget to get 5 drivers. So again, yeah, Max Verstappen just seems like pretty obvious. And then that was 23 million. So I guess we've got like 4 kind of budgety people. Alonso, like that. This is it, and then you fill in with 3 budgets. Like, this team could be the one. So with 3 budgets at that price. Can I squeeze in Bottas? No, it's not going to be enough. Bottas, you're too dear. Stroll's going to be too dear. I think it's going to be like boom. I think that might be it. Magnussen. I've got 3 million to spend. Like, oh, it's because I haven't got my other driver. I was like, oh, this is easy. But yeah, I need another driver. So I've got 5 million for the last driver. So yeah, I think Guan Yu Zhou probably. Nick De Vries maybe. And that uses up nearly every penny of the budget as well. I like that team. What do you guys think of this team? You like it? No benefit to picking the number 1 driver. Oh, that's a good point. That is a very good point, Matt Harmon. There doesn't appear to be any points for beating your teammate. Oh my goodness, that's a bit sucky, isn't it? I'm going to go have a look at that. I'm just going to quick autofill. What do they suggest? Nah. What is this? No. This is all wrong. Just keep clicking until something happens, until something good happens. No. Why didn't you put Red Bull in? Put Red Bull in. No. Don't autofill. It doesn't work. Right. Game rules. Maybe it'll be. Well, that is it though, isn't it? We've read through all the game rules, right? And there's nothing about beating teammates. That is absolute rubbish. Why have they taken that away? Yeah, it's not in there, is it? That is it. They've really stripped it down. They've added a couple of things in, but all the things that they've added in are just helping the constructors. So, yeah, like, that's a bit rubbish, I think. A bit rubbish. FAQs. Is it free? How do I play? Do I need to register? That's all rubbish. Scores. When will I see my score? Your score teams will update throughout the weekend, shortly after qualifying, sprint and Grand Prix. Your final score will be calculated as soon as all the data has come back. Might be a few hours. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, so that kind of looks like it. Let's have a look at the leagues, because I'm going to set up a league. If people want to join my league at some point, I will set up a league. I'll probably do it off stream though, because I don't want to be faffing around for 5-10 minutes whilst you guys are just staring at me faffing around for 5-10 minutes. But yeah, well, I'll definitely set up a couple of leagues if people want to join. But yeah, that's a bit. No teammate points. Oh, that's just rubbish. I feel a bit down about that. What else we got in the chat? I have Hulk instead of De Vries. Potentially, yeah. I mean, yeah, you could argue that could be a good move because AlphaTauri just don't look exciting and has looked kind of alright. They had quite a clean 3 days of testing. Let's go back to the picking the team. Look at the deadline already, counting down. 5 days, 1 hour. Like, bloody hell. Yeah, let's go back to the team that I'm, immediately drawn towards. Probably want Perez. Wait, what's going on here? Oh, what have I done here? I've just completely... I don't know why I've got Perez in there. I'm just so used to last season just putting Perez in. So Albon, and then, yeah, I think this is a great structure, a great shell, and then you just pick the best of the rest, basically. So we got Guan Yu Zhou, possibly, yeah, I think Guan Yu Zhou 4.9 could be a super bargain. And if he doesn't do well, his price is unlikely to drop. You're not going to lose much value in Guan Yu Zhou. And I think Alfa Romeo look really strong. And you're not going to get points for beating your teammate, so it doesn't make any sense in getting Bottas over Guan Yu Zhou, because they're going to be... They were fairly even last year. I think Bottas probably edges Guan Yu Zhou slightly, but I think overall, if you're not going to get teammate points, then there's absolutely no harm in getting Guan Yu Zhou in there. And with 5.1, yeah, leaves you with even Nick De Vries, Tsunoda. I'm definitely not picking Tsunoda, just bad vibes from last year. Hulkenberg, yeah, I like that shout. Was that Michael that shouted that? Yeah, I think that might be a good shout, actually, get Hulkenberg in there. Again, not getting penalised for losing out to your teammate or anything. So yeah, that could be a good team. 0.8 million. So if I say that's going to be my team, if I click continue, what happens next? Select a driver, obviously Max Verstappen. Confirm that. Team name. Oh, the big boys are back. Yeah, the big boys. Save it. Complete your profile. What is this? Where am I from? United Kingdom. Favourite team. Who's my favourite team? Like, I'm one of those fans that's just like kind of likes everyone. Who should we root for? Should we go for Aston Martin? We'll back Fernando. Yeah, where's Fernando? Get in there, boy. Fernando Alonso, in there. Don't miss out. I want Aston Martin. No, I don't want that. There we go. Your team was created. Excellent. Your team was automatically joined into the Global United Kingdom Aston Martin League. Fair enough. The Fernando Alonso League. Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. Only your first team will be eligible. Yep, that's fine. Let's have a look at the leagues then, shall we? There's already 6,000 teams. 6,000 people have already logged in. Cool. You have another turbo, Tom. What do you mean? What do you mean? You have another turbo, Tom. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, Michael. Thoughts on De Vries versus Hulkenberg? Yeah, I mean, at first I was thinking De Vries, and I still might go with De Vries because I'm not sure I'm fully sold on Hulkenberg, but I think if rather than having De Vries versus Hulkenberg, I'm thinking in terms of Haas versus AlphaTauri, and I think Haas slightly have the edge over AlphaTauri at the moment. So yeah, I think Hulkenberg's a good shout. I only picked one, have I? What else am I supposed to pick? Apply chips. This is the turbo stuff. Autopilot, no negative. Don't know. Let's go into the managed team again. Right. Not sure. I'm not sure what you mean. You only picked one. I mean, there is only one turbo, isn't there? One DRS boost. Am I going crazy? You have another turbo. I don't know what you mean. Can you turbo Red Bull? Can I turbo Red Bull, please? Just easy win. Easy number 1 on the Global League. Well, so how do you create the league? Well, I guess that would be... Well, I think you have to go... Yeah, I don't know, actually, because I clicked into the league after changing my team about. So if I change my team about and maybe try and save it again. Continue is grayed out. That's fantastic. Let's go back. Create a new team. So I can create a team there. Yeah, well, how do you create a league? I was on it a minute ago. Oh, leagues. There we go. Create a league. Join a league. Fernando Alonso. Only 723. Guys, we need to support Fernando Alonso this year. Come on. Yeah, I will create a league. I'm not going to do it right now. But I will. Oh, should I do it right now? Yeah, let's just do it right now. Let's just join. Let's join and get you guys in here. No, I don't want... I've clicked on the wrong button straight away. Right. Create a league. Oh, what are we doing? We're going to create a league. Choose a type of league. Classic, private. Can join with an invite. Head-to-head, private, publicly, or public. Yeah, I want to get you guys in here. Pop Power Man seems sensible. Pop Power Man, F1. Maximum teams, number of teams per user. Now I only have one team. You only have one team in here. Choose wisely. No maximum. Yeah. How do I select? I want this team. How do I select it? Oh, there's a tiny little red box there, which is really, really not obvious at all. But there we go. Create the league. There we go. There's the code if people want to join. league code. Oh, I can just link this into the chat, right? Shove this in here. There you go. Hopefully that link works. You can come join the league if you want. Share. I'll share on Twitter later. Cool. Where are we? Yeah, so if people want to join the league, that's just, I don't know, is there no variation on the leagues that we can create? Can we not? Is that literally all we got? Because, you know, we can have like one race leagues or 2 or 3 race leagues, have little mini leagues. Can we not do that? I don't think we can, because on the last season you could adjust it. So you could have, for example, what we got Bahrain, Jeddah, Melbourne, the first 3 races. I could do a league where it's just the first 3 races. That'd be quite interesting, but I'm not sure if that allows you to do it. Can anyone see a way of doing it? Let's try another one. Let's try doing another league. So, Palman F1 Mini, unlimited participants 1. I don't think there's any way to do it. That's a bit rubbish, isn't it? And just go straight away create league. So, okay, well I've got a league. There's a league. If people want to join, come join with the same team that I've got. This will be a fun league. No, but yeah, that's it. I guess we can have a look at some other team builds, because at the moment this is like definitely what I'm interested in. But I'm going to dabble around with picking Aston Martin as my super cheap budget option, because then I can get rid of the likes of Hulkenberg. That gives me 20.7 million. Probably just go all in on Red Bull in that case. Get Sergio Perez. Then we can also, we go up to 7.6. Where are we? Can't quite afford Valtteri Bottas. Man, if I had another 0.2 in the bank, I mean, maybe we don't need. Oh, maybe we don't need Albon. Maybe we go to Bottas instead. Gives 5.3, and then just go all in on Alfa Romeo. Just go have 3 teams. Just go all in on Aston Martin, Red Bull, Alfa Romeo. That could also be a good build, you know. Could be a good build. I'm not really sold on Aston Martin as that second constructor, though. Given we've just looked through the rules, and everything seems kind of weighted towards the constructors, and given that the constructors are underpriced, in my opinion. I think we don't need to go down to someone like Aston Martin as our second constructor, because it's not, you know, particularly with Stroll out injured potentially and Drugovich coming in to replace him. I'm not convinced Drugovich is going to be able to get into the top 10 and get me those easy 10 points for the constructors. If I was to go with Ferrari's constructor, though, I think it would be a lot easier to get those points. I think it's just, yeah, as much as I want Aston Martin in there because they're so cheap, In fact, actually. No, it doesn't make any sense actually. What if I got rid of Alonso and just had Aston Martin as my constructor and use Alonso as cover in the Aston Martin and not have him in my team? Is that a thing? What does that enable me to do? Again, we'll see if we can get all these guys in. What can we do with this? Who else can we get? If I go back Alonso, oh yeah, you can get Alonso in there anyway, can't you? That's kind of the team I was just on like 2 seconds ago, wasn't it? Well, that's kind of where we're at, I guess. But yeah, I think this is definitely an option. I think some people will go down this route, something like this. But I think, personally, I'll probably go back to a team that looks more like this. It doesn't mean I have Hulkenberg, and it doesn't look great with Hulkenberg, but the double constructor looks pretty cool. Let's have a look at the chat, see what everyone's doing. You need to create a new league each week for 1 league races. Yeah, I guess I could do that. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. Good shout, Glenn. Yeah, it doesn't give you the option to do 1 league races, but we could do 1 league races, or I could do like a 2 or a 3 race league and just keep a tally on my spreadsheet or something. That could also work. Although if I'm going to have like 200 people in my league, I'm not putting out my spreadsheet, so maybe not. But yeah, we could do potentially like a one league race, something like that, and that enables you to put on whatever team you want to, I guess. Because you can just like use your team 2 or 3 and optimize one race, rather than faff about with your team 1 that you don't want to, you know, mess up your global rankings, and just try something a bit different with the one hit race, the 1 hit league. Sorry, what's the team code? Did you not get the? Oh, did I not put the link in? How do I find the league that I've created? There. 13 people in there already. Cool. How do I... actually get the code for it though. God's sake, this is so hard. I can see the league, but I cannot actually do anything with it. I had the code earlier as well. There is a link. There is a link. The link is working apparently. There is a link in the chat if you want to join. Just go for that. In the meantime, I'm not going to faff about on the stream because people don't want to see that, to be honest. But yeah, I will find the code and I'll put that on Twitter or on my YouTube and that sort of thing. But yeah, this is kind of where I'm at already. Right, straight off the bat, this is my first team draft, I guess, and I think this is something I'm quite happy with at the moment. But I'll definitely be tweaking it. We've got 5 days, so I'll definitely be tweaking this and that. But going all in on Red Bull is also appealing. Let's go back in there because I want to see what was the Red Bull option. If I get rid of you. Sorry, I'm just fiddling around. Constructor 9.4. Yeah, that just kind of gets the Aston Martin in there. Kind of go all in a Red Bull. I do like that team as well. That looks pretty solid. It's just, I think I would, if the points weren't so heavily weighted to the constructor, I think a team like this is possibly better. But because it's so weighted to the constructor, I think having Ferrari as that second constructor at just a mere 22 million just seems like, yeah, just seems great. No Ferrari. What are you talking about? No Ferrari, Lucky 22. No Ferrari. I've got Ferrari right there. What drives the prices? Just the result of the drivers, or what people buy and sell. And I believe it's just the result of the drivers. I don't know if it's game rules. Don't know if it says anything about the prices here. In the article from last week, it doesn't say anything in there about prices. In the article last week, it said that the prices would change at the beginning of the new race week. So after the race, I assume on a Monday after the race, which would take place on a Sunday, on the Monday all the prices will be adjusted in one hit. So I'd assume that is based on performance in the race that's just gone, as opposed to who's buying and selling. There's no more sentiment bar. There's no more people ticking over. You don't have to constantly check through the week and through the race week. Whether drivers are going to tick over or whether you're going to lose value. It's all going to happen in one big hit after each race. Which means probably the price changes will be quite dramatic. There'll be quite big jumps, quite big drops. So we might have to be quite on the ball straight after the race before those price changes. For example, if we've all got Fernando Alonso and he DNFs, do we want to just jump off him straight away because to save value? That's a possibility. You could jump off him and then jump back on him on his new price, sub him out, bank the money. And then when his price drops by 2 million or something crazy because he's DNF'd, which hopefully won't happen, but just an example, then you can jump back on Alonso and build your team budget. That could work. So it's definitely interesting. I think that is pretty much it for my first thoughts then. If anyone's got any questions, I will be happy to answer. And obviously, I'll be doing a couple of videos during the week. And I'll be doing another live stream as well, going into the deadline on Saturday. Does it actually say when the deadline is? 5 days, 1 hour. So what's the time now? 5 days, 1 hour, 26 minutes. Yeah, so that is literally qualifying. So it's 3 o'clock Saturday, I believe, qualifying is. So once again, the deadline goes right up to the qualifying time. So I will be doing a live stream for that if people want to join in the fun. I have a feeling my team's going to look very much like this, but I will be, tweaking it and fiddling about. And I need to update my spreadsheet as well with all the new rules changes and stuff. There's, the fact that there's no teammate points is a real bummer because that's quite a good comparison to how we did last year. I think overall the changes and the new setup of the web page and everything that's quite nice. I'm not super excited by the changes. The fact that there's no teammate beat points, there's no streaks, and the fact that the points are heavily weighted from what I can see initially to the constructor is going to reduce variance quite a lot because the constructors are so important. I think a lot of people are just going to be piling in on the likes of Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes. I do think Aston Martin is definitely still an option because they look strong. If they look strong again through the practice sessions, I might reconsider and have Aston Martin as my second constructor. But my initial thoughts are a team like this is probably kind of where my head's at. Overall, I think, kind of kind of happy in some ways and kind of unhappy with the changes, but we'll just, this is what it is. This is the game we've got to play, so this is what we'll be doing. Yeah, let's just have a quick look at the chat again, see what's going on. Aston might be a good shout on this, but for now, I think, yeah. Again, like Aston Martin with no Lance Stroll in there is a bit of a bummer, isn't it? Can you change the team completely before the first race without? Chris Tindenovos. I shouldn't even try and pronounce his name. I'm so bad at pronouncing names, but Chris, yeah, you can change your team as much as you want up until the deadline, which will be 3 o'clock on Saturday. That's UK time, obviously. I don't know whereabouts you might be, but basically it's like the minute before qualifying starts is your deadline, and you can change your team as much as you want up to that point. So yeah, all good. Ferrari did a DNF. Yeah, Dominic, I fully agree. DNF, big minus point. So if bearing in mind that the DNF, as Dominic just pointed out, are so hard hitting, with a team like this, are we going to get hit hard by the DNFs? Last season, Guan Yu Zhou had quite a few DNFs. There's a few reliability issues. He obviously had that big crash in Silverstone. He got taken out by Latifi. Where was that? Marina Bay, I think, maybe. So yeah, Guan Yu Zhou had a few DNFs, so that could be painful if he doesn't get a bit more consistency this year. Hulkenberg, we know, can be a little bit of a risky driver alongside his teammate K-Mag as well. Might be interesting to see them on track together. Well, will be interesting for sure. So they're slightly risks. I think Albon is a pretty safe driver. Alonso, a big joker here at the top of the pile here. DNF wise, I think he should be fine, but because he's in a much more, what I anticipate to be a much more reliable car this season. So yeah, I'm not worried about Verstappen. He's got a really good DNF rate. Ferrari's the second constructor. As long as they've ironed out their reliability issues, then I'm quite happy to have them. So yeah, overall, I think this team is fairly safe. You're never going to be immune from DNFs. It's just going to happen. And when it does happen, maybe you can apply the chip. Which chip is it? We can click on apply here. And the no negative chip, although, so no negative points are applied for the entire race week. Oh, so I think do you have to do this before the deadline then? So you have to kind of guess where there might be DNFs. Is that right? Am I reading this right? Anyone in the chat help me out, work this out? So limitless, wildcard, final fix. Obviously none of these apply at the moment. They're greyed out because it's the first race of the season. We can do what we want anyway. Yeah, autopilot, top scoring driver will automatically get that override in the manual selection. Again, I guess we have to just kind of guess where's best to use that. Then the no negative, I would have thought was going to be a retrospective thing. If that's the case, and if we have to choose this before, we'll just put it on a sprint race. I think Baku is the first sprint race. Is that right? Can anyone confirm that? Is Baku the first sprint race? Baku is probably quite a dangerous track. It's quite a tight, windy bit. I can, through the castle section, every time I go through there, or not me personally, but every time I see drivers go through there, I feel like something's going to happen. Yeah, so if maybe just the no negative on a sprint race like Baku could be a good time to use it if we can't use it retrospectively. Then the booster as well. Again, I'll be using that on a sprint race for sure. It's probably going to be on Max Verstappen, provided, obviously depends how the first few races go, but I'll wait for a sprint race like Austria, probably. Austria seems like a good place to do the extra DRS. Autopilot, when's the best time for that? Just whenever whenever it's a dangerous race. So maybe Jeddah. Jeddah actually could be a good one, because the last couple of races around Jeddah, particularly that first season around Jeddah, was a bit lethal around there. Not lethal, thankfully, but you know what I mean. Quite dangerous. A tight track. The walls are really close in. High risk of DNF. So maybe using the autopilot chip on that could be useful. Again, maybe you want to use a no negative for that, but autopilot could be good. If something happens to Max Verstappen in Jeddah, then you just automatically go down to the next guy. So yeah, interesting chips. Let's see what's going on in the chat again. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Alonso costing points. Okay, thoughts on De Vries. I kind of already touched on De Vries a bit. I think at 5 million, he's fine. I'm not convinced that AlphaTauri. I would like to see some more of them in the practice sessions before I decide on that. I think the budget guys are kind of much of a muchness, and you're not going to get much out of them. I think Guan Yu Zhou could be the best of the sub 5 million. Yeah, I'm not sure. How much money have I got left in? I've still got 1 million, so I could go for De Vries still. If I've deselected a driver, why doesn't it automatically put me on the driver page? Come on, guys, just release the game, make it easy for us. So yeah, I could get rid of Hulkenberg and go De Vries, which was what I had initially before Michael drew my attention to Hulkenberg. But yeah, I think Nick De Vries could be a good shout. Leclerc or Perez, who's more worth their price? Let's have a quick look at the prices again. So Leclerc is 21.2. Sergio Perez is 18. I think Perez is underpriced, if anything. I think Perez is definitely underpriced. Why is Perez cost less than Russell, for example? But just why? He came second in the Drivers' Championship last year. Red Bull looks super strong. Why is Sergio Perez 18 million? Like, that could be another reason to not have Ferrari as a second constructor. Go for someone like Aston Martin, and then enables you to get like Sergio Perez because he's so underpriced, and therefore you might, if he does well in Bahrain, which I anticipate him to do so, we could look at building our budget just from the get-go. So yeah, that's a reasonable shout. I'm asking that question about Leclerc and Perez. I think that's certainly an interesting one. That we got to think about the budget, because obviously if we grow our budget in this new format of the game where the change happens like the day after the race, building an early budget can really jump you ahead of the masses, because I anticipate there's probably going to be at least a couple of million teams in the global league, and if we can get a little head start on those guys by getting a bit of the budget boost and improving the likes of someone like, just for example, Hulkenberg up to an Albon or something, which is probably an upgrade in my eyes, that could definitely be a good thing at the start of the season. So yeah, I think Perez. Let's look at who is underpriced and who's overpriced. Should we go through it? I think Verstappen. I think he's underpriced. I think he's slightly underpriced. I think I would have put him closer towards the 30 million. In fact, I probably would have put him at about 30 million. Like, make it a more difficult choice. It's too easy at 26.9 million to come in and just be like, yeah, Max Verstappen, DRS boost, and then we'll worry about the rest of the team like after that. I think he's underpriced. I think it's poor from the game. I think Lewis Hamilton is overpriced. I think Mercedes not doing great in testing. I think they'll come good, and I think they'll stick some upgrades in the car and they will be stronger. But initial pricing, I think Lewis Hamilton is overpriced by probably a good couple of million. Leclerc at 21.2 could be very underpriced, I think, actually, considering Verstappen is like over 5 million more than Charles Leclerc. I think Charles Leclerc could be another one along the same lines as Perez that could jump up in price. Charles Leclerc won the race here in Bahrain last season, so he could be a good shout. With that straight line speed of the Ferrari, maybe we'll see Leclerc take down a victory in the first race, and then his price suddenly soars. And if you don't have him in your team, suddenly you're like, oh. If he doesn't do well, I can't see his price dropping dramatically. I think he's slightly underpriced, I would say, so that's something to bear in mind. George Russell, I think it's fairly fair, I'd say. I think I'd like to see Lewis Hamilton a bit closer to George Russell. I think last season showed that George and Lewis are pretty evenly matched, I would say. And to see them like 5 million difference is, again, I don't know who's behind these prices. I don't know if have we got someone to blame yet? Can we just play on again? I don't know, but yeah, I think George Russell is about right, and I think Lewis Hamilton's definitely overpriced. Sergio Perez, hugely underpriced. 18 million. What a joke that is. That's mockery, absolute mockery. I think Perez will definitely climb in price. I anticipate him to do well at the start of the season. Carlos Sainz, 17.2 million. I don't know. Yeah, it's probably about right, considering he's like, I think I'd rate Leclerc as a better driver, not by much, but I think Leclerc is a bit of a better driver than Sainz. So if I was going to pick a Ferrari driver, saving about 4 million with Carlos Sainz, I think Carlos Sainz is probably just about right. If they brought him down to like 16 million, maybe it'd be a lot more tempting. I think we'd see him in a lot more teams, but as it is, I don't think he's going to get into a lot of teams. Lando Norris, I think, would have been more or less right if McLaren didn't look so awful in the testing. So I think he's currently overpriced, especially when you bear in mind Fernando Alonso, 8.3 million. I think Fernando Alonso, given how testing's gone, I would have priced Alonso. Where would I put him? Probably somewhere between 12 and 14 million. Is that a bit much? Maybe 12 or 13 million? Like at least 10 million. At least 10 million. I think he's just too cheap. Ocon at 9.4, I think is probably about right. I think Alpine's will surprise a few people, and I think they'll be fine this season. I think both Ocon, I think Gasly is potentially underpriced. I think Gasly is another one that could be really good pick for the beginning of the season if you're just looking at building budget. If maybe that's important actually. Maybe we need to sacrifice a couple of points and maybe just build a team that we anticipate will help us build a budget for the first couple of races. And Gasly at 8.1 million, I think that could definitely, I think it could be a good little boost there. Bottas at 7.8, I think that's fine. I think everyone down here like 7.5 and below is pretty fairly priced, I would say. Stroll, yeah, again in the Aston Martin, pretty good price considering how good Aston Martin are looking. Oscar Piastri at 7 million. Again, McLaren just don't look good, so I think that's fine. And quite a difference to him and Norris. I think Norris, I think if McLaren look good, there's no real point in getting Norris over Piastri. As long as Piastri isn't awful, which I don't anticipate him to be. The fact that there's no teammate points means that the likes of picking Lando Norris over the likes of Piastri, just not as appealing as they were last season. Who else we got down here? Yeah, Magnussen, maybe fractionally overpriced considering the rest of the budgets. Albon 5.5 I think is really good value, and I'm pretty certain he's going to be in my team to start things off. Nick De Vries is kind of I think Guan Yu Zhou should be a bit more expensive, 4.9 million. And yeah, pretty much sums up. I think everyone else down here is kind of fine. I think I'm quite happy with those prices. So overall, not overly pleased with the pricing structure, particularly as they wait until after testing. I think that's a bit rubbish that they've made it a bit dodgy. Quick look at the chat, then we'll go through the constructors. How is Sargent looking? It looks okay. I think the Williams in general kind of looked okay. It looks definitely closer to the midfield than it did from last season. So I think Sargent, if you need to go down to someone that costs just 4 million, I think Sargent is fine. It all depends on the rest of your team. And again, Sargent is kind of a safe bet. You're not going to lose value in him. Last season, the minimum that drivers could get to was 4 million. I don't know if there's still a minimum or if people can still fall to like 2 or 1 million. But I think, Sargent could be a good shout. It could be another driver that helps you grow your budget. If he has a reasonable race, then get a couple of overtakes maybe. Then he could be a really good budget, just 4 million. So yeah, it could be interesting. Thoughts on Piastri underpriced as well. Piastri, I think it's kind of okay at 7 million. I think he's kind of fine. Again, I don't think McLaren look good. They've had a lot of issues, reliability issues, and as well as just a lack of downforce on the car. I just don't think they look particularly great. So I'm not going to touch the McLarens, at least at the beginning of the season. Lots of negativity coming out of that camp. Frustration is clear. So yeah, I'm not going to go near the... It's funny, a couple of weeks ago I was like, Lando Norris, all over Lando Norris. He's going to be my team. He's going to be the turbo driver. And then we get the new pricing structure and the new... the new rules and everything, and the fact that McLaren just don't look good, and I'm just not even going to touch Lando Norris, I'm afraid. So, are you playing FPL? Yeah, I do play FPL. I'm kind of... don't know what my rank is at the moment. I think I'm around 100 and something thousand. Have a quick look if you want. Yeah, 2 seasons ago I finished 1,079. That was my best ever result. 2 points off the top 10k. Yeah, my current rank is 150k in FPL, in case you're interested. So it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. Thoughts on Piastri? Yeah, so that's it. I think the chat has dried up over there. So I'm just quickly going to go through the constructors and whether I think they're overpriced or underpriced. I think I'll probably wrap it up then. And like I said, I'll be doing a couple of videos through the week. So, and then obviously the deadline stream as well. So let's quickly go through the constructors, and then if anyone's got any final questions, I'll go through that, and then we'll call it a day, I think. So yeah, Red Bull, I think definitely underpriced. I think they should have been much dearer. Like when you consider that Max Verstappen is 26.9 million, and then you can get Red Bull when the constructors are clearly favoured with the point scoring system of this game for like just fractionally more money. Was it 0.3? It's literally 0.3 of a million. You can get Red Bull. I think they're hugely underpriced. They should have priced them a lot more and made it a difficult decision. They should have made it difficult for us to put them in our team. Instead, they've made it dead easy. In they go. Don't have to think about it. Red Bull in, Max Verstappen in. They should have been priced at least like 35 million, I think. Give us a decision. Give us a decision. I'm not happy with the price of the Red Bull, to be honest. Mercedes at 25 million. I would say I'd say everyone here is probably underpriced, to be honest. But given the price structure that we have, I'll go for it in that respect. Mercedes are probably overpriced at the moment. I'd probably put them down at where Ferrari are and put Ferrari where Mercedes are. Yeah, I think Ferrari clearly look stronger. If they've ironed out those reliability woes and, got Fred Vasseur at the helm now instead of Binotto, I think Fred looks like a solid chap that will get Ferrari running like a well-oiled machine. So yeah, I think Ferrari underpriced, Mercedes overpriced. And then we got a massive drop from Ferrari at 22 all the way down to Alpine at 10, like less than half of that. Alpine at 10 million, they're a bit of an unknown at the moment. I do think they would be all right, but at 10 million, if you're going to cut down from one of the premium constructors, the only other option I'd probably really look at is Aston Martin, who at 6.7 million. Like again, if we're looking at in terms of building our budget, 6.7 million, we could see Aston Martin skyrocket if Alonso does well, if Drugovich / Stroll does well in the first race, then I think we could see Aston Martin really skyrocket. So again, obviously we want points, and the whole point of fantasy game is gathering points. But you got to think about the long-term picture as well, and building a budget from the get-go is definitely a strategy and something I'll be thinking about and looking at the pros and cons of, do I pick the team which I think is optimal in terms of scoring points for the first race, or do I tweak it slightly and try and get a couple of those picks where I think are going to build the budget in the long run and therefore get more points further down the line. And I think a way to do that second method of playing the game, Aston Martin at 6.7 million could be a fantastic way of building that budget. I think, yeah, again, everyone else down here is kind of very similarly priced, and I think that's all fair. I think Williams has, I think Alfa Romeo actually also kind of surprised me that they're that cheap. I think Alfa Romeo looked pretty solid through the testing, so I think Alfa Romeo could be underpriced as well. But yeah, all in all, I think that pretty much covers my thoughts on the pricing. Again, I've already touched on the rules. I think the rules changes a bit hit and miss, but they are what they are, and we've got to play with them, and we'll do our best. Yeah, has anyone got any final questions to ask me about the game or anything else that might be on your mind? If you're interested, like I said, I've got my my spreadsheet as well, which I did have up, but I can't be bothered. Yeah, if people want access to the spreadsheet, it's available to all members. It's only $1.99 a month if you want to become a member, and you have access to the spreadsheet, which I now need to do a massive update on because of all the different changes of the rules and everything. But yeah, if you want access to the spreadsheet, by all means, $1.99 a month if you want to come join the party. And yeah, that pretty much sums up. I'll just check the chat for the last couple of minutes, and if there's nothing else, then I think we'll call it. Just in your team, I have Russell instead of Perez. I think Russell's dearer than Perez, isn't he? Yeah, like if you've gone Russell over Perez, maybe you're looking at the reliability of that Mercedes. But I think Perez at 18 million is hugely underpriced, and if you've got the money to get one of Russell or Perez in your team structure, then I think Perez just seems like a great option. But yeah, I can see the appeal of George Russell. I think he's still a good shout. But I think Perez is really underpriced at 18 million. I think his price will skyrocket. So yeah, it could be an interesting one. I don't see save button. Am I missing something? I don't want to lock in too soon. I mean, my team is saved. What are you talking about? I don't see a save button. Okay. I think, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what you mean, Michael. But Gilliam, can you show your picks with Mercedes as constructor? Sure, I can. Let's if we reset everything. Let's have a think about what we want. I mean, if we go Mercedes as constructor, I mean, I personally am not going to go this way. I think Ferrari are just the better option. They're 3 million cheaper and they look stronger. So if I was going to go for this, then I would pick Ferrari. But by all means, if you want to see what I would be looking at for Mercedes, again, I don't think it's negotiable to remove Red Bull. So I'd have them. And due to the pricing of being Max Verstappen kind of underpriced, I think, again, I would have Max Verstappen. So that would leave me 21 million. Can I squeeze in Fernando Alonso? And I'm not sure I can squeeze in all these budgets. I think I'm going to have to go down as low as Sargent potentially. No, I'm not going to be able to afford it, am I? Ooh, see, this is the trouble with Mercedes. I think they're overpriced. And for this exact reason, that I can't get a team which involves the key members, which is Alonso and Verstappen. We could do some blasphemy here and not include Max Verstappen in this build. We could go for Perez, who is at a big cut price, and that enables us to get someone else in at that sort of price. Not sure who you'd want though. We've got 12 million there. If we got rid of Sargent, then potentially we could go for Gasly if we want to build a budget, and like Bottas. I'm not sure about the double Alfa Romeo though. That's probably not ideal, but then you can't really afford much else down there. Like Albon, but then you've got 3 million just sitting around in the bank not being used. Yeah, I don't really like Mercedes as a constructor, to be honest. De Vries over Zhou. Personally, I'm leaning more towards Guan Yu Zhou. I think he could be a really good shout this season. I think he's really good price at 4.9 million. I think he's quite cheap and should be able to build the budget based off that. Let's have a look at, if I look at a team, let's cancel that. Let's have a look at a team where it's budget building actually. Can I create a new team? Let's do it. Let's create a brand new team. And who do I think are underpriced and can build the budget? Let's have a look at who we're going to build the budget of. I think Ferrari will go up, and I think Aston Martin going to go up. I think Perez is definitely underpriced. We'll put him in there. Verstappen's only owned by 59%. What are people doing? Don't know. Who else is going to go up? I think Carlos Sainz could go up in price. I think Fernando Alonso is obviously going to go up in price. I think Guan Yu Zhou is another one that's going to potentially go up in price. I've still got 22 million. Oh my god. So in that case, I could probably go all in on Ferrari, and if I think that they're underpriced, which I think Leclerc's probably about right price. But I think this is a team I could definitely build. It doesn't involve Max Verstappen though, and it's weak with the constructors. I think Red Bull are kind of a little bit non-negotiable for me personally. But if I wanted to build a second team just to build budget, then a team like this might be the way to go. Red Bull, Ferrari, and then Leclerc, Alonso. Better options for the free low price options. Well, let's have a look. So you're telling me Red Bull and Ferrari. Leclerc, Alonso. So you're saying instead of Max Verstappen, I would assume, Glenn. Am I right in thinking? So if we go Leclerc and Alonso, that gives us 21 million for the budget dudes. I can sort of see where you're coming from. So that might enable us to take a bit of a punt on Pierre Gasly. Who else are we going to get? Probably Nick De Vries, and then we're left with 7 million odd. You could go for Piastri. Don't really want to get Lance Stroll because it's likely to be Drugovich in the first game. I'm not sure. I'm not sure not having Verstappen is worth it. I feel like Verstappen's just underpriced, and I'm not sure it's worth it. But excuse me. Because is Pierre Gasly a huge upgrade on the likes of Guan Yu Zhou? Probably not. So you could just go back to the original Max Verstappen. Why is he grayed out? Because I don't have enough money. Max Verstappen, and instead of if you go Leclerc over Max Verstappen, all you're getting basically, you can still get Guan Yu Zhou. Oh, Guan Yu Zhou's there. You kind of get Nick De Vries, and if you went with it's basically if you go Leclerc over Verstappen, you're kind of looking at Nick De Vries versus Pierre Gasly. It's kind of a much for muchness. I like this team. Right, last couple of questions, and I think I'm going to call it a day. What do you think about Alpine this year? Alpine, I have touched on them already. I'm not sure if you just joined the stream, but I think Alpine will be fine. I think they've been underwhelming a little bit in testing. But there is some general positive vibes I've seen from interviews with Gasly and Ocon, I think, and team principal Otmar, whatever his name is. There's been some positive vibes. Gasly seems quite comfortable and settled in his new team. The Alpine last season did have a lot of reliability issues, which is a little bit of a concern. But overall, I think Alpine, and they're going to be bringing in an upgrade. From my understanding, it's quite a big upgrade, considering it's the season's literally just starting and already upgrading the car. So I think Alpine definitely could be an option. Not for me as a constructor. And I think if I was going to pick one of the drivers, I'd probably save myself 1.3 million and pick Gasly over Ocon. That said, Ocon, he's been in the team already. He's kind of knows the car already well from the last season, whereas Gasly's going to kind of learn it. So Ocon could be a good shout. Could be kind of that steady ship that you want in the midfield. Overall Alpine, I think they'll be all right. And they could be a little bit of a dark horse, but I kind of want to see where they're at for the first race or two, probably before I pick any of them as an option. The cost cap was over 100 million. No, I did not notice that, to be honest. I've not even. What do you mean? Is that? I think that will still come to 100 million. I'm not sure what you mean exactly, Vepper. But let's have a look at the poll as well. I forgot about that poll ages ago. In the poll. So that was. There we go. Aston Martin ahead of Mercedes. So most people, 117 votes. Most people were saying that Mercedes will still be ahead, but it's pretty close. The fact that answer to that poll is pretty close kind of shows that Um, Oh, I've also made a massive spelling mistake. I can't even spell Aston, but Aton. I only just noticed that like ages after putting it up. Never mind. Yeah, I think the fact that it's that close just goes to show how improved Aston Martin are and how what lack of confidence that people have in Mercedes, and the fact that I think, Aston Martin and particularly Fernando Alonso are just underpriced. Uh, when did the prices change? Yep, thank you, Michael, for answering that. I believe it's going to be Monday. I'm not sure if it states explicitly a time. Does it say a time? Don't know. Don't know. Doesn't say, does it? There's not a lot of information here compared to last season. Picking team scores more. Is it under more? Countries, nope, scores. Yeah, it doesn't seem to say exactly when the prices will change. Hopefully we'll get some sort of indication. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, if you haven't already, there is a link further up in the chat for joining the league, and I'll try and work out if I can get hold of the actual code for people to join the league. More the merrier. There's now 19,000 people already in the global league, so I expect that to soar up towards around the 2 million and maybe beyond mark, as fantasy seems to be getting more and more popular nowadays. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think just so you can get a team of Max, Lewis, De Vries, Albon, Leclerc, Aston, Alpine. Yeah, but I'm not sure about that team, Tom Beck, because of the constructors. I think Aston and Alpine, this is my personal opinion, I just think Red Bull, a base of Red Bull and probably Ferrari or maybe Red Bull and Aston Martin are the way to go. But it's definitely a good team of drivers that you've got, like Leclerc and Max and Lewis. Like, they're solid, reliable, quick drivers. So yeah, I kind of like that. But for me personally, I think I'm going to lean towards the heavier constructors. But yeah, I think, unless anyone's got any last minute questions, I think I'm going to wrap it up then. Yeah, thank you very much for joining, everyone. Stay tuned for more videos through the week, and also the deadline stream next week. So yeah, I think we'll call it a day. Thank you very much for watching. Is it worth playing with only 4 drives? You can't. Not sure what you mean by that. So I'm just watching the chat. I know everyone's probably signing off now, but does the cost apply to your team even if you pick it before the prices would change? I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. I forgot that constructors are weighted on the points. Yeah. So looking through the point scoring system, I think constructors are favoured for sure. I mean, I'm going to read through the rules like with a fine tooth comb to make sure I haven't missed anything. But from my initial reaction is that constructors are like big beefy constructors are the way to go. So I think Ferrari, Red Bull are probably the way to go. But we'll see. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you very much for joining. God knows how long this has gone on for. How long have I been chatting for? Over an hour. So yeah. I think that's gonna, like I say, I'm gonna put in a couple of videos during the week, and I'm also going to do a deadline stream on Saturday. If you want to come join that, that'll be good fun. I'm available obviously in the comments section of all my videos, and also on Twitter at Potham and F1. If you want to send me messages, ask me stuff, then I'll do my best to reply. I'm sure it'll be nice to have some interaction with you guys. But in the meantime, everyone have a great week. It's race week, so yeah, get those teams locked in 5 days' time. Yeah, give me your thoughts on what you think will be the best team going forward. Do you agree that my team I've currently got up here is potentially a way to go? This is just my first thoughts. I will look more into it and go through the pros and cons of different builds. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you very much for joining the stream. I've had great fun as always. I think I'm going to lose my voice if I continue much further. Please give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this and it's helped you out a little bit. It's been really fun and exciting chatting with you guys as always. Yep, Checkered Flag is out. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Michael. And I'll catch you again, in a couple of days' time probably for the next video. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.